It has been difficult to prepare a talk for this retreat. What can I talk about? My heart-mind engaged in the knowing that every day as we live our lives, many beings are suffering the effect of climate change. Many animals and plants are facing extinction. We humans may face extinction as well. Our government seems totally ignorant on how we are destroying the earth and continue to embark on a crusade of wars, armaments, and the exploitation of the earth's resources. When there are so many beings suffering all over the earth, including the earth itself, how can we not feel this suffering? Living in this community at Maitreya Abbey with just 4 residents and the 2 of us, it is so obvious that what we do affects all of us. And we always have to, when we make any decisions, we always have to consider all of the residents and the animals. And when somebody made a mistake, we all feel the effects of that mistake in one way or the other. So in this community, it's so easy to see how connected we are. But at a global level, we are still all connected. And there is so much suffering going on that we feel it one way or the other one. And we used to enjoy more comfort when we were dumping our leaves and tree branches and brush into the dumpster. But then, recently we find out that by doing that is gonna go in and buried underground the earth, and that's gonna release more methane gas into the atmosphere. So we don't have the heart to continue doing this now that we know it. So it complicates things to be aware of what we are doing and how we are accelerating the suffering of all the earth. It complicates things. And now learning that our oceans are contaminated with microplastics and many of the fish dying, I need to stop using plastic. And I just look around and there is so much plastic everywhere. I mean, it's like, the trash bags for the trash cans and all that, I cannot substitute that. So we really need the help of the big corporations to start producing materials that do not contaminate the atmosphere so much. But at my personal level, I'm gonna make an effort to really stay away from plastic as much as I can. And it complicates things. We have created societies in which people are alienated from each other and there is very little connection among themselves. If we are to fulfill our bodhisattva vow of saving all sentient beings, we need to become more community-oriented. And this, of course, complicates things. The process of saving the earth, of accomplishing our bodhisattva vow, is a process of letting go of some of our comforts for the benefit of the whole. How can we not feel the suffering of the earth and the cruelty that is performed to the animals? Animals that have feelings and care for the young, each day are being taken by the thousands to the slaughterhouses so that we can eat chicken breast, hamburgers, or pork roast, and yet we vow to save all sentient beings. It is a massive holocaust, what we are doing to our animals. How can we not feel all these sufferings? One of you told me in Dokusan that you feel the energy of the earth's suffering rising through your feet. I feel it too. How can we not feel it? My favorite practice through the many years of being a student and a teacher has been to penetrate beyond the realm of thought. Going beyond the realm of thought, we enter into the realm of the 5 wisdoms. These 5 wisdoms were developed, I believe, during the Great Mother religion, way before Buddhism started. The 6th patriarch Huineng during the 7th century in China knew about them and mentions them in his Platform Sutra. No, he knew about the 5 wisdoms. The wisdom of equanimity develops when we transform pride and arrogance. Mirror-like wisdom develops when we transform anger. Discerning wisdom develops when we transform greed and attachment. All-accomplishing wisdom develops when we transform envy and jealousy. The wisdom of unconditional love develops when we penetrate emptiness. Now in retreat is a good time to penetrate emptiness. We can also develop the other wisdom by owning our arrogance, anger, attachment, envy, and fear. From all the attachments, the most difficult to release is the attachment to life. When we let go of our attachment to life, we become sky dancers. What does this sky dancing mean for me? This is the same as not having a square inch of ground upon to stand, as we say in Zen. This means not relying on preconception, being empty of concept, and allowing the 5 universal wisdom to lead the way. At the Zen Center in Rochester, New York, we had a different night gatha. And I still remember it. It was like this. As night darkens the green earth, the wheel turns. Death follows birth. Strive through the night with every breath, that you may wake past life, past death. And it was recited like here with bells and drums, and it would make your heart stick up, before just going to bed, so you could not go to bed. I truly believe this gatha, and it helped me to wake up to a different reality. The reality of the earth and the sacred feminine in men and women. According to Namkha Norbu Rinpoche, Garak Dorji, the founder of the Dzogchen teachings, and I think you mentioned yesterday how similar Dzogchen is with Zen, and I know that too. So it's like Zen. Went so far as to say that the majority of those who could reach the ultimate level of the Dzogchen teachings, the manifestation of the body of light, or the rainbow body, would be women. The rainbow body manifests at the time of death. The physical body completely disappears except for the hair and the fingernails, and a body of light is formed from the essence of the elements. This body can be perceived by those in very open states of mind. Namkha Norbu Rinpoche explains that the reason for the predominance of women achieving the rainbow body is that women had a natural affinity in working with energy and vision, and the Dzogchen practices leading towards the body of light are connected to working directly with energy and vision, rather than logic and intellectual studies. I don't know if you remember, but that's what my name means, Shinko, body of light. So that's my goal, to realize the body of light at death. It's my biggest goal. During the 2009 Vancouver Peace Conference, the Dalai Lama said that the world will be saved by the Western women. Today, when we are considering how we humans can face extinction, it becomes even more important to review how, at the beginning of early civilizations, things were very different from how they are now. With the advent of the religion of the male god, the religion of the mother goddess was persecuted, her temples demolished, her people killed. All of this destruction and massacres are testified in the pages of the Old Testament. Even though men, women, and children were massively killed and entire villages wiped from the face of the earth, many objects survived the persecutions and continue to speak of the extent and development of the civilizations that honor the mother goddess. The people of ancient Europe worshipped the priestesses because they were believed to be able to see into the future by being in communion with the female deity that possessed the wisdom of the universe. Her religion, far from a fertility cult, consisted of a complex theological structure. Many temples, shrines, and artifacts dedicated to the mother goddess have been found in Neolithic excavation all across Europe and in the Middle East and in the early centuries of recorded history. The Great Mother was revered from the beginning of the Neolithic era around 7000 before Christ until the closing of the last temples dedicated to the goddess around 500 AD. However, the roots of the veneration of the goddess go back to the Upper Paleolithic, 25,000 BC. Maruja Gimbutas, a well-regarded archaeologist, wrote, "From the early phases of the Neolithic onward, the goddess, whose part is played by the priestess, is portrayed crowned or enthroned. Next to the goddess were the priestesses, who may have formed a council important for decision-making. Councils of 9 women are mentioned in early historic records in this same time period and exist in European mythologies. Communities of priestesses and women's councils, which existed for millennia in all Europe and in Crete before the Judeo-Christian era, persisted into the patriarchal era, but only in religious ritual. Communities of priestesses, having great collective power, are well known in early history as sisterhoods of enchantresses. I've been working for many years with the goddess practices. I believe these practices originated during the Great Mother religion. Each goddess represents a wisdom, the same wisdom that I mentioned before. These are the same goddesses that I had painted and hung outside the abbey walls. And they also represent the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space. The later Buddha families evolved from these feminine ones. The women of wisdom who knew their powers and continued the tradition of the Great Mother religion were burned as medieval times. However, the wisdom that is inside our bodies cannot be destroyed. It is still here, and together we can embark on the heroic task of saving the earth. I'm calling all the witches, sorceresses, and enchantresses to come to practice with us at Maitreya Abbey. Woo! I hope they hear it. Let's say it 3 times. Calling on all the witches, sorcerers, and enchantresses to come to practice with us at Maitreya Abbey. Calling all of the witches, sorcerers, and enchantresses to come to practice at Maitreya Abbey. Yeah, you never know the effects of something like that. I mean, it's so bad that sometimes I think of black magic, but I won't do it. I won't do it. But then white magic, at least white magic. We have to try something, something. I mean, we were burnt as witches for a reason, right? So, we are still here. All priestesses and commoners who worship the goddess were considered to be sorceresses. Those who served the Inquisition in 15th century Spain destroyed huge numbers of witches. Witches were those who practiced the rites of the goddess and who had knowledge of medicinal herbs and other healing arts. In the language of the goddess, the author Maruja Gimbutas writes, the witch hunt of the 15th to the 18th century is a most satanic event in European history in the name of Christ. The murder of women accused as witches escalated to more than 8 million. 8 million country women that knew about herbs. I mean, the burned or hanged victims were mostly simple country women who learned the lore and the secrets of the goddess from their mothers or grandmothers. In 1848, Pope Innocent VIII, in a, do you call it papal bull, denounced witchcraft as an organized conspiracy of the devil's army, these pure women, against the Holy Christian Empire. Ah, Dios mío. It's just like, we need to do something. I need all those sorcerers and witches to come. And practice us in here so we are all well grounded. Yeah. The goddess gradually retreated into the depth of forest or onto mountain tops, where she remains to this day in beliefs and in fairy stories. Human alienation from the vital roots of earthly life ensued, the result of which are clear in our contemporary society. But the cycles never stop turning, and now we find the goddess re-emerging from the forest and mountains, bringing us hope for the future, returning us to our most ancient human roots. Zen was born from the merging of Chinese Taoism and Indian Buddhism in the 5th century AD. Taoism was very fond of the female principle, and Taoism itself seems to have evolved from the Great Mother religion. The following poems from the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu are very significant regarding the connection of Taoism with the Great Mother religion and their connection to Zen practice. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. It is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. It is older than God. What is older than God? The goddess. It is, I mean, really. Listen what he says in the second part. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives words to infinite worlds. Since Taoism was called the Great Mother, it makes a lot of sense that Zen was born from the merging of the religion of the Great Mother and Indian Buddhism. You know, and these things, the problem is like, we wanted to be destroyed. I mean, all the feminine, all the women, all our powers, everything, we were exterminated to a grand extent. But they cannot exterminate everything. So the snake was a symbol of the Great Mother religion, the snake. And then, you know, here we are seeing how, you know, the Great Mother surfaced as Taoism in China. But we also, like, when we see the snake protecting the Buddha right there, the snake was the symbol of the Great Mother, and there you have it, protecting the Buddha. So it symbolizes the merging of the Great Mother religion and Buddhism. So don't think that Buddhism is so patriarchal. It's half Great Mother. So always remember that. When the Great Mother religion was persecuted, it went underground into the dark womb, resurfacing in India as Tantric Hinduism and in China as Taoism. No wonder I had visions of the Great Mother through the Zen practice. She has always been at the very heart of Zen origins, then relegated to a figurine or a chant that in an abstract way was the symbol of compassion. While we, the actual women, whose those figurines and chants represent, were not allowed in many Zen monasteries of China and Japan until the 20th century. How sad. How sad. New archaeological evidence and reevaluation of existing artifacts show that the Great Mother was revered as a divine deity who created the universe and its natural laws. She was also considered to be a prophetess, inventor, and healer. Jimbutas write, "It is inaccurate to call Paleolithic and Neolithic goddess images fertility goddess, as is still done in archaeological literature. The goddesses are mainly life creators, not Venuses or beauties, and most definitely no wives of gods, of male gods. They impersonate life, death, and regeneration. They are more than fertility and motherhood." The poem Thunder, Complete Mind, found in the Nag Hammadi text, dating from about 300 AD, personifies thunder as a feminine power. According to Elaine Pagels, the poem declares that the divine feminine presence, often unseen, shines everywhere, in all people, whether they live in palaces or garbage dumps, embracing all that we are. Instead of seeing the divine only in positive attributes like wisdom, holiness, and power, thunder presses us to envision divine energy with our complete mind, even in terms of foolishness, shame, and fear. The following are excerpts from Thunder, Complete Mind, and you can taste on your own how very Taoist this poem is. This is an excerpt. "Why, you who hate me, do you love me, and hate those who love me? You who deny me, confess me, and you who confess me, deny me. You who tell the truth about me, lie about me, and you who have lied about me, tell the truth about me. You who know me, be ignorant of me, and those who have not known me, let them know me. For I am knowledge and ignorance. I am shame and boldness. I am shameless and I am ashamed. I am strength and I am fear. I am the first and the last. I am the one who is honored and the one scorned. I am the whore and the holy one. I am incomprehensible silence and the voice of many sounds, the word in many forms. I am the utterance of my name. Do not cast anyone out or turn anyone away. I am the one who remains and the one who dissolves. I am she who exists in all fear and strength in trembling. I am she who cries out. I am cast forth. Patriarch turned everything upside down. Men and women living together in harmony was turned into the domination of women by men. Women's innate wisdom was seen as crazy or evil, something to fear and destroy. The care and communion with the earth was turned into the exploitation of her resources and her creatures. Now, when patriarchy is releasing its most ferocious attacks to continue destroying the earth for the benefit of a few and at expense of the many, like a dying dinosaur giving blind strokes with its large tail, it is time for the feminine wisdom in people of all genders to rise again. The earth is screaming for help louder than ever. Millions of sentient beings being killed in slaughterhouses. Other creatures becoming extinct, the ice caps melting, the oceans rising, the atmospheres and the seas severely polluted, the ozone layer disappearing, fires of unprecedented proportions burning the forest, hurricanes of unheard magnitudes, frequent earthquakes and tsunamis, devastating floods, wars, and starvation. Can't you hear her cry yet? It is time to wake up from the dream of ignorance, from the tale of lies we have been told that obscure the truth of who we are, and from the lethargy of a life of fake comfort and security. It is time to speak the truth, to come together and to work for the vision of a renewed earth, of new powers, in whatever way is available for each one of us. There is so much to do.